Alrighty, so I have the supply and demand thing up here on the screen. I want to explain this to you so you can kind of understand what I'm going to be looking for when it comes to time for your test. So what you're going to get is you're going to get on your test and your final exam, you're going to get a copy of something that looks a lot like this. It's going to be gridded out, though, so it's going to be a little easier for you to see. So what you have right here is you have the supply and demand curve. Now, it's going to be blank because I'm going to ask you some questions about which one is which, so make sure you understand right here. This arrow is going to be the supply, okay? So supply is always going to go from 0 up. It's going to have an upward slope, and this one right here is going to be the demand. D-M-A-N-D. Okay, it's always going to be in that direction. It's also important that you remember, because I'm not going to tell you this, is price is going to go over here, and right down here we're going to have quantities. So the number of people who are buying or doing something, okay? This area right here in the middle is called equilibrium. Make sure you remember that. That is going to be important to know. So what I'm going to do is when I first ask you is you're going to receive the graph like this. And I'm going to give you a question like, what will happen to the demand curve if the supply shifts to 7? So if we look right up here, okay, if we were to draw this kind of straight down right through here, we say that our supply currently at equilibrium is about 4.5, so let's round up to 5, because it's about 5 right through here. So if the demand, let me get this back out of here. Okay, so if the supply was to suddenly shift to 7, so that means our supply curve is this one right through here. So if the supply curve were to shift over to 7, is going to be suddenly, the supply is going to be right through here. Now, what is going to happen to the demand curve? Now, it's important to remember that regardless, it's going to reach equilibrium. So it's going to mean this line right here is going to have to move. So how is it going to move in what direction so that it reaches equilibrium? Well, if the line's going to be moving this way over here to get up to here, the first thing that line is going to have to do is it's going to have to move to the right. Okay, it's going to move to the right and it's going to move up. Okay, follow that one right through there. So this line is going to move here, it's going to move to the right, and then it will move up, meaning the new equilibrium is going to be crossing right through there. Okay, so another example of this one, I'm going to ask you, okay, let me get this line right here. What would happen to the demand curve if the supply were suddenly to go down to 3? So we see the quantity right through here is going to be 3. Now, if this is the case, in order for this demand curve to shift over to here, the demand curve number 1 is going to have to shift down, because if you look right through here, okay, where it initially started off, anything that is in this area down here is going to be a shift down. Anything in this area up here is going to be a shift to the right. Okay, if this is going to happen, the supply curve is going to shift down and it's going to shift to the left, lining it up right through here, just like that, okay? It's also important to realize if you were to draw this line right through here, okay, anything that's on this side over here is going to be the left. Anything on this side over here is going to be the right. Let me get rid of these. Come on, there you go. Woo, okay. Now, for example, we're asking something about what happened to the supply curve if the demand were to increase, okay? Increase or shift to 7. Now, it's important to realize an increase is not going to be up here, okay? If you look down here, that would actually be 1, which would in fact turn to be a decrease. Now, if it's going to increase, it's going to be over here. So if I'm going to say a question, what will happen to the supply curve if the demand were to shift to 7, meaning the demand would now be here? Again, if you look like this and break this in half, in order for this to happen, it's going to have to go down, and it's going to be moving over to the right. So the answer to that question would be the demand curve would shift down and to the right. Now, if the demand were suddenly to decrease, okay, it would shift this direction, because remember, we're decreasing is going to be less, and it would be going up right through here, because it's got to stay somewhere along this line. So if I were to ask you a question, what would happen to the demand or to the supply curve if the demand were to shift to 2? So if the demand were to shift to 2, we're going to look from the demand curve, find out where it meets with 2. Okay, right here is where it's going to be. Now, what's going to happen to that supply curve is that supply curve is going to need to shift in this general direction, which is up and to the left, right through there. That is going to be explained to me how the supply and the demand curve shifts. Now, if you have any questions on this, please, I recommend that you contact me as soon as humanly possible. Ask me any questions you might have. But the important thing to realize is that immediately, and what's going to naturally happen, is equilibrium. They are going to have to find this spot where they are going to be the same. So one of those two lines is going to shift in that direction. Remember, anything that is below this green line is going to be down. Okay, anything above this green line is going to be up. It's going to be a two-part answer on all of these. And then if you were to take this blue line right through here, anything on this side is going to be the left. I can spell left. Anything on this side is going to be to the right. So anything that were to be up in this general area, up here, is going to be up to the right. Anything that is down in this general area is going to be down and to the right. Anything in this area is going to be down and to the left. Anything in this area is going to be up and to the left. That right there explains the direction of the shifting curve, okay, the supply and demand, how it shifts, how it moves. If you have any questions, again, please comment on this video, contact me. Otherwise, have a good rest of your day. Good luck.